revealed 3 divine steps to manifest heavenly healing and prophetic transformation in 40 days. The air crackled with electric anticipation as Sarah gathered her friends and family in the small, creaky living room. Flickering candles cast dancing shadows on the walls, creating an atmosphere that felt almost sacred. Tonight, they were invoking Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, in hopes of divine intervention for her husband, Daniel, whose mysterious illness had taken hold of their lives like a thief in the night. As she spoke, the room filled with murmurs of agreement, hearts pounding with fervent belief. One by one, they joined hands, creating a living chain of prayer that felt palpable and alive. It was a sudden, swirling rush of emotion, joy, desperation, and hope, a bittersweet concoction that left their spirits soaring high. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the room, rattling the windows and causing the candles to flicker wildly. Gasps erupted as the presence of something divine wrapped around them. "I felt it, didn't you?" Sarah whispered, her heart racing. "Yes," echoed her sister, tears streaming down her cheeks. "God is here." As they prayed, remarkable signs started to manifest. A woman in the group, long tormented by anxiety, felt a weight lift off her shoulders, and laughter bubbled from her lips, something that felt impossible just moments before. Another friend, a single mother struggling with illness herself, stood and proclaimed that her pain had vanished. The Spirit moved through them, and soon, one by one, they were overcome with waves of healing, each miracle lighting the room like stars emerging in the twilight. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But even amidst the miracles, doubt began to creep in. Neighbors engaged in hushed whispers, questioning Sarah's fervor. The community, once united, seemed to fracture under the weight of divergent beliefs. Financial burdens cast a long shadow over her once vibrant household, and wrestling with worry kept Sarah awake at night. Yet, in moments of stillness, she clung to her faith like a lifeline. Then, one fateful evening, during a prayer meeting, a powerful prophetic word was spoken. "You are on the brink of a transformation. God is ready to move. Trust Him." The words echoed in her heart, igniting a fire of determination within. She could feel the heavy air shift, the weight of despair lifting, just a fraction. Inspired, Sarah began her ambitious journey, 40 days of heavenly healing. As days stretched into weeks, faith surged around her like a tidal wave. More miraculous signs followed. Children caught in the grips of dark fears seemed suddenly lighter as they played. Elderly neighbors found renewed vigor, and previously divided families began gathering, united in one single plea: healing for Daniel. But just a hint of foreboding lingered, a tension that hung heavy, preparing for a confrontation between faith and doubt that loomed ominously on the horizon. When Sarah found herself standing on the precipice of believing wholeheartedly, not just for her husband but for all those who sought renewal, her heart raced with expectancy. On the final day of her journey, as evening fell, Sarah knelt in prayer, surrounded by her loved ones. The room echoed with anticipation, the atmosphere charged like an approaching storm. Outside, thunder rolled ominously, as if nature itself waited with bated breath. Would the prayer be answered? Would the healing come? With her heart full of faith, she waited, poised for the miracle that lay just beyond the edge of her understanding, hoping for the divine manifestation that could change everything. The stillness of the moment was so thick, it felt as though time itself had taken a breath. Sarah's heart raced, pounding a steady rhythm against the backdrop of the thundering storm outside. The candles flickered timidly, casting ethereal shadows that seemed to dance in response to her prayerful pleas. Each breath she took was heavy with anticipation, filled with faith yet shadowed by the fear of unanswered longing. As the wind howled outside, mingling with prayers woven from desperate hearts, Sarah closed her eyes. She visualized Daniel, his vibrant smile flashing in her memory, the way he laughed even in the bleakest of moments. With every inhalation, she absorbed the love that was buoying her spirit, urging her on. God, you know our pain, she whispered softly, her voice quivering. You know what we need. Let us feel your presence tonight. The group around her seemed to exhale collectively, releasing their worry into the ether. It was almost like a tangible sigh that enveloped the room. Tears streamed down the faces of those witnessing, each drop a testament to their faith, each moment a poem of their shared belief. Suddenly, a flash of light broke through the window, illuminating the room as if heaven itself reached down. Gasps filled the air. Startled looks turned to awe, as they felt a surge of warmth. It wasn't just the glow from the lightning. It was deeper, more powerful, and they all felt it, a divine embrace that hushed their doubts and fears. I can feel him, Sarah's sister exclaimed, her voice breaking in joy. One by one, they echoed the sentiment. The hand-holding chain tightened, the light in the room intensified, and prayers poured out more fervently, passionate and unrestrained. Sarah, swept up in the tide, began to pray aloud, her spirit rising in holy confidence. She prayed for Daniel, not just for physical healing, but for a rebirth of hope, for financial burdens to be lifted, for clarity in the chaos. As they prayed, a knock at the door startled them. Who could it be at such an hour? But, before anyone could move, the door swung open to reveal old Mrs. Hayes, known for her wise counsel and gentle spirit. She stood there, drenched from the rain, but something in her eyes glowed with purpose. Forgive my intrusion, she said, breathless yet firm. I felt the urgency of the Lord. He sent me here. The atmosphere shifted again, as if the room had expanded, filled with possibility. Mrs. Hayes stepped into the sacred space, her presence adding to the celestial energy. I have a word for you, Sarah, and for Daniel. As she spoke, the storm raged outside, but Sarah's heart steadied, anticipating revelation. With every word that flowed from Mrs. Hayes' lips, the weight of despair began to dissipate, making room for divine hope to take root. Daniel is closer to healing than you can imagine, she declared. Trust the process. Your obedience does not go unnoticed. Sometimes, the hardest journey leads to the most profound transformations. In that moment, as Mrs. Hayes spoke, Sarah felt her spirit awaken further. She realized that the healing they all sought was not just physical. It was a renewal of the spirit and community. But an echo of doubt still whispered amidst the celebrations. Just then, a distant thunderclap resonated, shaking the walls of their faith. The real challenge lay ahead. Would their prayers pierce the sky? Would answers arrive before their faith wavered? With the storm raging outside, Sarah clasped her hands tightly. What lay ahead in their journey? What divine mysteries awaited their discovery? I believe, she breathed, the words hanging as a promise, resonating within the hearts gathered close. And as the candle flames flickered once more, she couldn't shake the feeling that the brink of something extraordinary was on the horizon. What awaited them in the days to come? Would they witness the full manifestation of their prayers? The next chapter was on the cusp of unfolding. As the candlelight danced in gentle waves, the atmosphere hummed with an unspoken expectancy. The storm outside rattled the windows, a reminder of the trials that lay ahead, but inside, amidst the flickering flames and quiet whispers, hope ignited like a wildflower breaking through concrete. Mrs. Hayes' voice resonated softly, wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Sometimes, she continued, her tone steady and profound, the Lord asks us to move beyond our fears and into His grace. The first step toward healing is often understanding the purpose of our struggles. Sarah felt the weight of those words settle deep in her spirit. Could it be that the pain they were enduring had a greater significance? In that moment, her heart grew tender, unfurling like a petal seeking the sun. She glanced around at the faces of her friends and family, each one a testament of faith, each one intertwined in a collective journey. "Let's share our burdens," she suggested, her voice breaking the sacred silence. "What burdens are we carrying together?" One by one, the room became a sanctuary of confessions. Each shared pain was met with compassion, each revelation honored with prayer. Memories of lost jobs and broken relationships, of illness and loneliness, filled the air. The storm outside became a distant echo as they opened their hearts in vulnerability. "I've been afraid of losing my job," Michael admitted, his voice trembling. "It feels like everything is crumbling around me." His eyes glistened as he looked around, seeking reassurance. Another voice chimed in, "I've felt lost since my father passed away. I don't know how to navigate this world without him." As each story unfolded, Mrs. Hayes moved among them, offering quiet encouragement. "Every story shared is a thread woven into the fabric of our community. God is here, transforming our pain into purpose." With every prayer they offered for one another, the room felt lighter. The flickering flames seemed to glow brighter, illuminating their faces as a warmth enveloped them, a holy presence, undeniable and fierce. "Trust in the Lord," Mrs. Hayes urged, her eyes sparkling with wisdom. "He sees us, hears us, and bids us come closer." The second step to healing lies in surrender. Surrender. Sarah echoed softly, digesting the weight of the message. "What does that mean for us?" "It means releasing control," Mrs. Hayes responded gently. "It involves laying down your worries at his feet and trusting his perfect timing. In surrender, we give God room to act." A collective hush fell over the group as they absorbed these words. They were not just seekers. They were participants in a grand divine narrative. Just then, the wind rattled the door again, and a louder crash of thunder reverberated around them. A flicker of doubt crept back in, but it was quickly chased away by their unified stands of faith. The room pulsed with hope, ignited by surrender and prayers. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the door. It was Daniel. His presence sparkled like a beacon in the storm. "Sarah, I've come home," he said, breath quickly catching in his throat at the sight of his loved ones. Everyone froze for a heartbeat, disbelief lighting every face, but it was unmistakably him. A gasp erupted from the group, transforming into shouts of joy, tears streaming freely. Sarah's heart soared, but whispers of incredulity danced in her mind. Had their prayers truly reached heaven? As he stepped into the warmth of the room, the final step to healing began swirling around them. "What's happening here?" Daniel asked, bewildered yet excited. "Miracles, Daniel," Sarah whispered with newfound conviction. "We're on the verge of witnessing his power." With Daniel's unexpected return, they felt the fabric of their community deepen. But with this miracle, a new question arose. What could it mean for the journey ahead? The storm outside echoed their racing hearts. What revelations lay in store for them as the light of hope began to break over their path? Rumblings of divine transformation were stirring like thunder in the sky. They could feel it, a promise whispering of greater things to come. The energy in the room thrummed with anticipation. Sarah could feel it, a palpable tension mingled with joy. Daniel was home, alive. It was as if a dormant seed had sprouted in the garden of their hearts, nourished by prayers and hope. "Tell us everything," Michael urged, leaning forward on the edge of his chair, eyes aglow. The others nodded eagerly, each heart bursting with curiosity and a spark of faith. Daniel smiled, drawing in a deep breath. "It's been overwhelming," he began, his voice rich with emotion. "I found myself in a dark place, far from both home and faith. There were moments when I didn't think I'd come back." A ripple of understanding flashed through the group. They had all danced with shadows of doubt and despair at various points in their lives. "When I was at my lowest," Daniel continued, "I prayed like never before. I didn't know if anyone was listening, but I poured my heart out. I asked God for clarity, for direction. As he talked, a hush settled over them. The flickering candles seemed to burn brighter, casting a sacred glow over their gathering. Then, during a storm similar to this one, he gestured toward the window. Everything shifted. I sensed a warmth, a voice reassuring me that I was not lost, that there was purpose even in the mess of it all. Purpose, Mrs. Hayes echoed thoughtfully. That's what we've been discussing tonight. Our struggles are not without meaning. Daniel nodded eagerly. Exactly. I felt compelled to surrender to trust that my journey wasn't just mine alone. It belonged to something greater. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes. She knew this struggle all too well. What happens now? Where do we go from here? Daniel's gaze lightly brushed the faces around him. I believe that God has brought us all here tonight for a reason. We have been given a second chance to heal together. But I think we need to embrace this process, this healing. A quiet murmur of agreement enveloped the room as hearts stirred with enthusiasm. And how do we do that? A voice called out from the back. It was Emily, her brow furrowed with genuine concern. What does it mean to embrace healing? Daniel smiled knowingly. It means we can't do it alone. We need to lean on one another, share burdens just like we have tonight. We must make space for God's grace to pour into our lives and trust His timing. A sense of unison washed over them. They understood healing was never solitary. It was a collective journey layered with trust, hope, and shared love. As the storm raged outside, they huddled close, the warmth from their unity radiating like a protective barrier. They held hands, forming a circle of healing. Can we pray together? Daniel asked, his voice gentle yet strong. Each head bowed as they surrendered to the holy presence enveloping them. Each whispered prayer felt like an offering, their love cascading upward. The power of prayer can heal, Mrs. Hayes reminded them softly. It brings us closer to the heart of God. The room filled with echoes of faith. Each voice melded into one. They prayed for strength, for healing, for direction. They prayed for the storm outside, and the storms within. As the final amen faded, a curious question lingered in the air. What awaited them on the other side of this healing? Suddenly, a gust of wind whipped through the room. The candles flickered wildly, then steadied. A silence fell over them, heavy with divine anticipation. Are you ready to take the next step? Daniel asked, looking around with a spark igniting in his eyes. God's plan is unfolding, Mrs. Hayes whispered, sensing the air charged with promise. But what will it reveal next? We must remain open to what He has in store. And in that moment, they understood. The journey was just beginning. What awaited them as they stepped boldly into the unknown path together? Daniel looked around the circle, eyes bright and full of dreams unspoken. The room pulsed with a fervor born of shared spirits, and in that sacred space, it felt as if the very air shimmered with potential. Let's take that step together, he urged, voice steady and inviting. Each of us has a role in this journey. The revelation of unity brought a warmth that spread through Sarah's chest. But what do we do? She asked, the eagerness in her voice mirroring the hope in her heart. Daniel lifted his hands, palms open, as if to catch the blessings falling from heaven. We start with vulnerability. We each share our stories, our fears, and our dreams. If we lay our hearts bare, it's then that healing breaks through. Their eyes flickered between one another, some nodding in agreement, others reflecting contemplation. Who would be the first to break the silence that surrounded their individual struggles? I'll go, Michael said slowly, his voice catching slightly. I've felt so lost recently. I put on a brave face, but inside, well, it's been tough. I lost my job, and with it, my sense of purpose. I prayed, but I didn't know what to say anymore. There was a palpable shift in the atmosphere, as if heaven paused to listen. Daniel leaned in, full of compassion. That's powerful. Just admitting your struggle is a step towards healing. We're all here with you. Yeah, I felt that same emptiness, Emily added, lifting her gaze to meet Michael's. After losing someone I loved, I didn't know how to heal. It felt like I was drowning. It still does sometimes. Behind her eyes, there lay a fierce blend of sorrow and strength. Daniel smiled encouragingly. We are with you, holding on to hope, while you grieve. You don't have to carry that burden alone. One by one, they began to speak their truths, revealing parts of themselves that they had kept hidden. Each confession felt like a release, weights lifting, chains breaking. Emotions rang out in compassionate echoes. Then, something beautiful began to happen. Daniel guided them toward a prayer of release. Let's lift our burdens to God. We'll place them at His feet, trusting Him to take what weighs us down. As they prayed, hearts opened like petals in sunlight, surrendering their fears and broken dreams. Deep inhalations filled with the scent of hope engulfed them, while exhalations carried away the weight of despair. Sarah felt an inexplicable peace wash over her. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she felt God's gentle embrace. She sensed that something significant was being birthed in their gathering, a new bond, forged in honesty and kinship. The darkness is real, Daniel said, his voice steady, but let's remember, the light is always greater. God promises that healing will come in His perfect time. Faith, Mrs. Hayes whispered, is what opens the door to healing. In the fading light of the candles, renewed energy flowed among them, igniting their spirits. We need to prepare ourselves for what God has next, Daniel encouraged. As they sat in silence, a divine hush surrounded them, thick with possibility. They had shared their vulnerabilities, and it felt sacred. The air shimmered with unspoken promises, like the first rays of dawn chasing away the night. And then, just as the warmth of the moment settled, Daniel's eyes caught an unseen flicker at the edge of the window. Let's not forget, he said cautiously, that not all storms are meant to harm us. Some storms cleanse and prepare the ground for growth. A chorus of amens echoed softly in response, yet hearts pulsed with a question: what kind of growth awaited them? When Michael finally broke the silence, his voice was hushed with awe. But how? How do we stay connected through the storms ahead? There it was, the question that hung thick in the air, begging for divine guidance. What did true unity look like in the face of future trials? The storm outside rumbled, as if God was ready to speak. The rumble of thunder echoed their uncertainty, reverberating through the room. Daniel took a moment, letting the weight of the question linger. It hovered like a feather caught in a breeze, fragile yet potent. Unity, he finally said, eyes gleaming with conviction, comes from a deep-rooted understanding. It's more than just togetherness. It's purposeful connection, heart to heart. Sarah leaned forward, intrigued. What does that look like in our daily lives? Daniel smiled warmly. It's about showing up for one another, being present in our joys and sorrows. It's in the small acts of kindness, the words of encouragement we share, and the tears we wipe for each other. Emily nodded slowly, a spark igniting within her. So, we gather not just to share burdens, but to uplift and carry each other through. Exactly. Daniel's voice rose with enthusiasm. Imagine this group as a living embodiment of God's love. We can be His hands and feet. A hush fell again, but this time it felt different. The presence of hope laced through their vulnerability, like dew kissed by dawn. Michael raised his hand slightly. It's about trust, too, isn't it? Allowing others to support us when we feel too weak to stand alone. Daniel offered an encouraging nod. Yes, trust creates a bond that withstands storms. It is built through consistent openness and sincerity. The more we strive to be honest, the more we find strength in our community. A rustling excitement shimmered in the air. But how do we keep this connection alive? Sarah asked, the urgency in her voice now palpable. When life pulls us in different directions. And Daniel exclaimed, each syllable resonating with clarity. We need to commit ourselves to regular gatherings, whether in prayer, study, or simply breaking bread together. It's in those moments that unity flourishes. Mrs. Hayes, her voice soft yet firm, spoke up. We can also share our stories outside this room. Let others see what God is doing among us. Our testimonies are living lights, drawing in those who need hope. A chorus of yes and nods surged through the group. With every heartbeat, they sensed the air thickening with grasa, beautiful confirmation that God was among them, orchestrating their growth. Daniel gestured towards the candles, flickering warmly. Consider them a reminder. Each flame represents an individual story, a path of healing. Together, they create an illuminating brilliance that lights the darkness. As the room grew quiet, Sarah's heart felt swelling with a newfound determination. She was imagining not just a moment but a movement. Let's not just aim to survive the storms, she said with renewed fervor. Let's thrive through them. Let's prepare to be a beacon of hope in our community, drawing others towards His light. A ripple of excitement coursed through the group. Maybe, Michael mused softly, a smile creeping across his face. This is bigger than we realize. What if we are meant to be instruments of God's healing, bringing others into this experience? Yes, Daniel stirred, the air tingling with possibility. It's in community that transformation begins. Let's invite others to journey with us. Let's share the good news that healing is not only available, it's already here, waiting to be claimed. Their hearts swelled collectively, a sea of affirmations whispering among them. But then a curiosity flickered beneath the surface. What if we face challenges while reaching out? Emily pondered aloud. What if our own storms threaten this vision? Daniel paused, feeling the profound weight of her question. Every step we take together will bring opposition. That's part of the journey. But, he leaned in closer, excitement building in his voice. Those challenges may just be the very ground from which our most profound growth springs. The storm rumbled again outside, each drop of rain a reminder of the turbulence yet to come. Yet, in that moment, a sense of calm emerged. The light from the candles flickered to emphasize their unity, and they felt woven together by invisible threads of faith. But as they prepared to move forward, an unspoken question hung in the air like the scent of the rain. What trials lay ahead, and how would they choose to embrace them? As the wind outside howled louder, Daniel closed his eyes in prayer, seeking the next steps from above. Would they be ready to trust God's path, no matter how it twisted? As the wind howled outside, the room felt almost sacred, a cloister of hope and expectation. Daniel's hands rested in his lap as he sought divine guidance. The gentle flicker of the candles danced in rhythm with their thoughts, breathing life into each moment, a reminder that every heartbeat could herald change. Lord, Daniel whispered, show us the way. Let us not fear the challenges ahead, but embrace them as opportunities to grow. A silence settled over the group, wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Each person was transported inward, contemplating their personal storms. Emily felt her heart race, a mix of anxiety and excitement swirling within her. She glanced at Sarah, whose face radiated with determination. Do you think God has prepared specific challenges for each of us? Emily broke the stillness, her voice soft yet earnest. Perhaps, Daniel replied, opening his eyes, sparkling with newfound energy. But remember, challenges are not the end. They are moments of refining, where our strength is revealed, and our closeness to God deepens. In His wisdom, He orchestrates our journeys to draw us nearer to Him. A refining fire, Sarah murmured, nodding slowly. That's what this is, a season of growth. Michael, ever the voice of pragmatism, added, but we can't forget that growth is often painful. How do we support each other when those pains arise? Daniels glanced around the circle, seeing the apprehensions etched on their faces. That's why community is vital. In moments of struggle, we need to lean on one another. We need to be open about our battles so we can share the burden. Mrs. Hayes shifted in her seat, a knowing smile illuminating her features. And prayer, always. Through prayer, we harness God's strength together, merging our hearts in intercession. It's a powerful bond. Yes, Emily exclaimed, emboldened by the thought. Imagine the prayers that can lift someone out of despair. We can create a chain of hope, each link prayers forged in love. Daniel's gaze landed on the flickering candles again, their flames resembling tongues of fire. What if the intention behind each flame represented a prayer, a moment of intercession for someone in need? Excitement ignited among them. Michael interjected, "We could start a prayer chain. Pass the flame, representing our prayers for each other." A beautiful idea. Sarah clapped her hands together with enthusiasm. Let each light be a reminder that we are never alone in our storms. We strive together. With newfound enthusiasm, they shifted to planning how to implement this vision. "Let's set a date for our first prayer meeting as a community," Daniel suggested. "And we can reach out to those who need support, friends, co-workers, anyone who may feel lost." The conversation surged forward, fueled by promises of connection and intentionality. Each idea birthed a new sense of purpose. Yet, as they spoke, the storm outside grew fiercer. The wind screamed against the window panes, as rain pounded like rhythmic drums. Each crash echoed the uncertainties of their aspirations, but within that chaos, hope flourished. In the midst of their discussions, Sarah suddenly gasped, "What if our first prayer meeting corresponds with the community outreach event next month? We can invite people in. Show them the flame of hope we've ignited." "A perfect opportunity," Daniel affirmed, heart racing. "But it will require courage. We can't hold back. Our unity will shine through our actions. It may bring challenges, but it can also manifest incredible healing." Eyes wide with anticipation, the room felt electric, their dreams of outreach taking flight. As they finalized plans, a profound peace settled over them. They realized that they carried not just their burdens but the light of God, destined to break through the heaviest clouds. Just when laughter erupted, breaking the tension, a loud crack of thunder resonated outside, a thunderclap, so mighty, it shook the very walls of the room. Gasps echoed as they turned towards the windows. "Will this moment bring us closer, or push us apart?" Emily asked, her voice trembling. "In unity," Daniel declared, his voice steady and resolute, "we will rise. For God will not forsake us in the trials." Are we ready for the divine unexpected? As the rumble of thunder faded, the question lingered, echoing in their hearts and minds. Each face reflected a mix of anticipation, fear, and unwavering resolve. Would they be able to withstand the storm and emerge stronger on the other side? The room was enveloped in tension, the aftermath of thunder still crackling through the air. Daniel's words echoed like a sacred charge, encouraging and bold. He could see the flickers of determination igniting in each heart. They were more than friends now. They were a collective body aimed at a common purpose, healing through faith. "Let's not forget why we are gathering," Mrs. Hayes reminded gently, her voice like a bomb in the brewing storm. "We're here to intercede, to gather our flames, to light the way for others." Emily nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "If we align our hopes and prayers, imagine the miracle it could bring. Each of us could carry the light forward, a beacon of hope in the midst of darkness." Michael raised a hand, pausing them. "This is real, and it will take real commitment. Are we prepared to step out beyond our comfort zones? There are people out there lost in their storms, just like us. We need to be ambassadors of courage," Sarah proclaimed. Her voice was steady, infused with a newfound assurance. "Let us not only speak the words but embody them. Our actions must reflect the faith we profess." Daniel looked around, feeling the collective heartbeat of their aspirations. Then it settled. "We will meet as a family each week. Each prayer meeting will be a chance to replenish our fire, to forge our unity further." Just as they began to strategize the logistics, a gust of wind rattled the window, momentarily stealing their focus. But, instead of faltering, a wave of inspiration washed over them. "Let's set an intention for the first meeting. A purpose greater than just ourselves," Emily suggested tentatively. "What if we start by inviting those who are weary? Let's use the power of prayer to reach out to our neighbors, our friends, a tangible call for healing." "Yes," The word burst forth from Daniel, his enthusiasm palpable. What if we created a care package for each invitee? A small token of our commitment to their journey, a note of encouragement, a prayer card, something tangible to remind them they are not alone. Can we add an element of service? Michael inquired. We could volunteer to help them with any pressing needs, even if it's just a meal or a friendly chat. We get to know their storms and how to help. Each idea spun like a thread in a divine tapestry, weaving their hearts closer together. The details were chalked out, everyone leaning into the conversation, offering thoughts, hopes, and prayers. Amidst their discussions, the howling storm suddenly shifted, and a moment of stillness enveloped the room. It was an eerie, quiet, almost sacred. Emily leaned in, her eyes wide as she whispered, "What if this moment is a soft reminder from God? What if He is acknowledging our willingness to step forward?" A soft light flickered from the candles, casting dancing shadows on the walls. They all shared an understanding glance, a silent affirmation of the divine unfolding in their midst. Then, a gentle nudge sparked in Daniel's heart. And what if we pray over these packages together? Each item we prepare can be bathed in prayer, or light illuminating someone's dark cloud. Yes, the excitement surged back as they formed a circle, hands clasped tight, eyes closed in reverence. "Lord," Daniel began, his voice earnest, "we ask for your direction and blessing over our outreach. We ask for strength and unity, that every package carries your love and light. Help those who receive them to feel your presence in their storms." The energy in the room shifted, becoming electric with the presence of the Holy Spirit. Each flicker of the candle seemed to pulse in rhythm with their prayers, creating an atmosphere rich with faith and hope. Then, a sound echoed outside as soft, steady rain began to fall. Not harsh like before, but gentle, cleansing. It felt like a divine embrace, a reassurance that they were being watched over, that the journey ahead would indeed be one of miracles. As they emerged from their prayer, Emily felt a stirring in her spirit. Do you think this is only the beginning? What will happen as we step into this divine calling? The question lingered, bouncing off the walls as the rain tapped gently against the windows. They sat charged with anticipation, hearts racing, minds alive with possibilities. What awaited as they embraced this brave new venture? Would the rain wash away their fears and bring forth a harvest of hope and healing? Each face betrayed excitement, mixed with hesitation and certainty about the unfolding path ahead. But they stood together, just as God intended. And as Daniel looked at their faces, he could feel it's an unmistakable promise of something far greater was on the horizon. What revelation were they yet to discover in this adventure of faith? The rain continued to fall softly, each drop creating a calming rhythm against the window. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with expectancy, a beautiful blend of hope and mystery. As Emily's question hung in the air, the group sensed an invitation to look deeper into their hearts, to uncover the true calling God had for them. "We should embrace this supernatural moment," Michael spoke up, his voice steady. "Let's write down what each of us hopes to achieve through this outreach. What do we want to see happen? What miracles do we anticipate?" There was a collective murmur of agreement. One by one, they picked up pens and paper, pouring their thoughts onto the page, their dreams spilling forth like a river of faith. "I want to see people healed from loneliness," Sarah wrote, her heart swelling with compassion. "I want them to know they are treasured and valued." Emily nodded, her energy infectious. "And I want families to come together. We need to draw unity where division has taken root." The others scribbled their hopes too, each desire a brushstroke in the big picture that God was painting through their efforts. Daniel reflected on his own commitment, knowing that whatever was birthed through this collective endeavor, it stemmed from a divine source. As they finished writing, they exchanged their notes, reading aloud the dreams that resonated with them. Each voice was a fragile melody, weaving their hearts into a chorus of purpose. Together, Daniel said softly, "We not only write these hopes down, but we also pray them into existence." This isn't just about us. It's about the lives that will be touched, the hearts that will be softened. With their notes circling back into silence, they formed a prayer once again. Each voice lifted, each heart open. Lord, Daniel began, we lay our dreams before you. We ask for courage to step out in faith. Help us embody your love as we reach out to those in need. May every action we take be soaked in your grace. As they prayed, a warmth enveloped them, and the room seemed to pulse with divine energy. It was a moment steeped in surrender, a soft cry for help from their collective spirit. They felt vulnerable, yet empowered, a paradox ignited by the Holy Spirit. When they finished, Emily opened her eyes, bright with inspiration. What if we each commit to a personal action? Something small we can do every day that aligns with our hopes for this outreach. Absolutely, Michael chimed in. Even the tiniest act of kindness can impact someone's day, and it may lead us to conversations that spark healing. Each member of the group began to brainstorm their daily commitments, from simple gestures like sending a text of encouragement to more involved actions like offering to prepare meals for someone struggling. It was important. Each step would draw them closer to their mission. Then they heard a gentle knock at the door. It was Mrs. Hayes, her loving smile radiating warmth. Can I join in your circle of prayer? Of course, Emily called, inviting her in. As Mrs. Hayes settled among them, she quietly listened to their plans. Her eyes brightened as they shared their visions. You've found something beautiful here, she whispered. The Spirit is moving through your hearts. Trust that. With renewed zeal, the group took Mrs. Hayes' presence as a blessing and formed a larger circle. Each person clasped hands, their grip firm and supportive. The energy shifted, weaving a tapestry of hope and trust, as if heaven itself joined their congregation. Father, Mrs. Hayes began, her voice soft yet powerful. I pray you would bless this gathering with clarity and strength, guide each step of their outreach. Allow these acts of service to become a bridge for your love. With their hearts joined as one, they embarked on an uncharted path, each step illuminating the way forward. They felt a humble, thrilling anticipation bubble inside them. Heaven was ready to break through in a magnificent way. As they finished praying, the sound of rain grew louder outside, drumming like a heartbeat. It resonated with the feeling in the room, a rhythmic reminder of what lay ahead. Do you feel that? Emily asked, her voice trembling with excitement. It's as if God is affirming our mission. But what if, Daniel mused, a contemplative look crossing his face, what if we uncover a deeper purpose in this journey? What if God has something we have yet to realize? The words hung in the air, heavy with wonder and uncertainty. Each heart beat in sync with the promise of discovery, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. What revelations were waiting just around the corner? They could only wait and see, anticipating the miraculous calling ahead. The air was thick with divine expectation as Sarah and her friends stood together, hearts beating as one, clinging to the slender thread of hope that had woven them into a community of faith. It was the day they had been waiting for, the culmination of their 40 days of heavenly healing. What began as a desperate plea for Daniel's health had transformed into a mission of unity and strength, and they were ready to embrace whatever awaited them on this sacred journey. Sarah looked around the room, her heart swelling with gratitude. The flickering candles glowed warmly, a beacon of the light they had shared through prayers and vulnerability. Today is about more than just glorifying healing, Sarah said, her voice strong yet trembling with emotion. It's about embodying the love we have experienced together. This is our chance to be the hands and feet of Christ in our community. As the group echoed her sentiments, Daniel stepped forward, a newfound clarity shining in his eyes. It's time we step outside these walls, he said, voice steady. Let's not just hope for life-transforming miracles. Let's create the spaces where those miracles can happen, not only for us but for everyone around us. A wave of affirmation rippled through the gathering, each person's heart pulsating with urgency. Emily raised her hand enthusiastically. Let's hit the streets. Let's invite everyone, friends, neighbors, anyone who feels lost, to share in our gathering and our offerings of love. Yes, Michael exclaimed, his voice rising. We've tasted renewal, and we need to impart that to others. Our testimonies can ignite hope in those still lost in the storm. The room buzzed with excitement as they began to plan. Their community outreach became a tangible expression of gratitude. They crafted care packages infused with prayers, notes of encouragement, and small acts of kindness. This was their mission, to transform the despair they once felt into a tide of love sweeping through every street. As they prepared to head out, the hum of prayer filled the air. Mrs. Hayes, a pillar of wisdom, looked upon them with admiration. Remember, every act, however small, carries the weight of heaven. Trust that God's love will radiate through you. With hands clasped, their voices lifted to the heavens, and they prayed for strength, grace, and divine encounters. Lord, they united in voice, use us to carry hope today. Let our light shine in the darkness. May each interaction bring forth healing and restoration. When they said Amen, it rang like a clarion call, echoing through their spirits. As they stepped out into the world, the rain had subsided, leaving a crisp freshness in the air. Sunlight broke through the clouds, embracing them with warmth. Everything felt alive, vibrating with promise. Visiting one home after another, they spread joy. They hugged grieving families, shared laughter with children, and listened to stories that poured out as freely as tears. Some were heartbreaking, others filled with hope, yet all were bathed in love and the profound presence of God. Each interaction became a sacred moment, a holy exchange that cements their mission in faith. Eventually, they returned to Sarah's home, hearts swollen with gratitude, witnessing the miraculous journey unfold. Daniel, now glowing with vitality, joined them in a circle once again. Look around, he urged. We have become a community of healers. We stood together. We trusted God's work in us, and now we are bringing it to others. Tears glistened in their eyes as they shared stories of the day. Each account resonated with miracles, hope kindled in broken hearts, laughter returning to tired souls, and connections rekindled where once there was loneliness. In that moment, they all felt it a sacred shift. God wasn't just healing physically, but restoring spirits, mending relationships, and weaving them into a vibrant tapestry of life. As night fell, Sarah stood before them, a spark lighting her eyes. Let's commit ourselves to a shared journey of service. We are no longer just gathering in this room. We are a unity on a mission to uplift everyone we come across. Through laughter, tears, and sounds of agreement, they acknowledged the commitment that now bound them. They pledged to meet regularly, to share their experiences, and to continue igniting hope in each other and their community. In that space, the light crackled. Rejuvenation hung in the air. They had answered the call of faith, relying on each other, united in purpose. And as they looked toward the future, the promise of what was to come beckoned. The divine wasn't just a hope, it was a journey alive within them. Soon a voice rang out, echoing in the stillness. Let's not forget. We should spread our love further through social media, through the stories we share. It was Emily, stirring their hearts once more. A beacon of hope. Daniel exclaimed, inspired by the impassioned ideas swirling in the room. Yes, Sarah cheered. Let's bear witness to what God is doing. Together, we have created a family bound by faith. We must tell the world. With hearts renewed, laughter echoed as they exchanged tales of encouragement with rising fervor. They claimed their mission as servants of God, weaving love's light through their community. And with the weight of divine purpose dancing in their steps, they understood. This was just the beginning of their remarkable journey. They were ready to embrace whatever followed. Now, dear brothers and sisters, let this fire continue to blaze. You need to subscribe now to witness our future miracles together. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like right now to ignite the algorithm and spread the good news of God's love. Comment below sharing your thoughts and silent testimonies. Your voice matters. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. It could change their lives forever. Together, let's spark a flame of hope.